Welcome to the first live video from the Stag Culture series. We are right now live on Instagram, but we are also recording everything for YouTube. So in case you miss it, it will be in YouTube tomorrow or the day after. And Victoria, my wife, is also checking the comments and picking some of the questions that you may be grabbing or saying through Instagram, and she will be picking the ones and letting me know later that we'll be answering some of the questions. So first of all, Stag Culture. I don't know if any of my followers doesn't know already what Stag Culture is. We spent 22 days hunting in a row doing a road trip around Spain, and we hunted in 6 different places. So we are releasing those 22 days of hunting in 22 episodes. So it's going to be more, it's been a daily blog of each day. And we just finished releasing the first 5 episodes, which are from the first chapter, which was in Acornland, which is a hunting state close to Madrid, where we spent 5 days hunting with my wife. The episodes are released twice a week. At the beginning was once a week, but after all of you guys saying that it was not enough, we are releasing 2 episodes each week. And the reason of doing a live, it's because I wanted to share more things after the first chapter or each chapter passed, and you look into things with a little bit of perspective. And I think we learned from each chapter a lot of stuff, and we wanted to give more feedback and analyze some things that maybe during the videos we were not able to share. But now, after everything happened and you look back, maybe there is some extra information that can be interesting for you guys. So that's the reason about doing the live video. And also we are going to be doing some giveaways, giving away stuff. So, okay, first of all, so chapter 1, as I mentioned, it was in Madrid. We spent 5 days bow hunting with my wife. At the beginning, we split teams. My original idea was one of us to shoot a stag early on the hunt, to be able to join the other after one of the teams was successful. But things didn't went as planned, as everything in the Stag Culture. And the last few days where I decided to hunt with my wife and to spend some time together, because the whole the whole thing behind Stag Culture is that it's not just hunting and killing animals. It's not the whole purpose of the thing. There is many ways to enjoy the stag or the red deer rat. And part of that is to share it with friends, with family, and enjoy the time. It's a short period of time, but if you share it with friends and people that you care, it's even more special. So the first 5 days were amazing. I mean, the place we hunted, it's great. I mean, it's like the bow hunting paradise. It's an area where only bow hunters are allowed. The terrain is just like perfect. It's like rolling hills with some trees, rocks. I mean, like perfect stalking terrain. But once again, this bow hunting, it proved, and in the videos you can see that bow hunting is tough and it's never as easy. And even if the terrain is perfect and great, it's really complicated. It's an animal that you hear them all the time, and you go outside and you hear 1 stag, 2 stags, 3 stags roaring all around you, but you can spend the whole day and not seeing any of them. So that's part of the magic of stag hunting. And also we have to have in mind that if bow hunting is already complicated enough, but when you are 3 person hunting together, it's even a greater challenge. When you try to document everything and get it on film, you lose a lot of opportunities. You are hunting 3 persons because in each team I was with Gonzalo and with Jack from the Slots Media guys, which were the ones that were filming. And at the same time, Victoria was with with Ivan and with Lewis. So 3 guys walking around trying to see if the camera guy has the animal on film, if you can shoot, and it's too complicated for red deer, but we tried our best. I shot I don't want to do a spoiler just in case anyone is joining the series now, but I got an opportunity, a beautiful opportunity to a stag. It was bedded down. We put a amazing stalk to like 30 meters of the stag. We waited. We were patient. I mean, making an animal stand up, in my perspective, if you have a good wind and you can hold tight and wait, it's better not to make the animal stand up, because when they stand up, sometimes they are looking at you, or some animals, they just like to bed down, and when they stand up, they just started running. So in my experience, and I have made that mistake a lot of times, it's better to be patient and wait for the animal to stand up than trying to push it or whatever in your convenience. I mean, like if the wind is bad, it's better to act quick. But the thing is that the stag finally ended up standing up. I got a beautiful opportunity, but there were 3 things that happened that were a little bit misfortune, or it was 3 mistakes that changed the whole thing on how things developed. I took the shot. At the beginning, I thought it was a great shot because the opportunity was very clear and we were on top of the world, and we thought that that it was a great start. Day 2 of the series. We got a gorgeous stag down, everything on camera, everything super well recorded. So, we were on top of the world, but as we started tracking, and I didn't like the blood, I didn't like the tracking, how it was looking, and I was like starting to get worried, and we end up not recovering the animal, which we were like in deepest of the lows. And that's bow hunting, and if there is any bow hunter or hunter in general, I think we all have been there and we all understand how tough it is, but it's part of the game. And the few things that that happened is that, first of all, the stag was alert. So as the stag stood up, there was a young female, a young hind, going in front of the stag. So I didn't want to risk the shot above the young female. So I waited for the female to clear. And by the time the female cleared, the stag just turned around, looked at us, and just do like this, chest forward. I have 1 second to shoot. So I had to rush a little bit the shot, which was the first thing, and the animal was alert. So he also was able to jump the string more than if you shoot it completely relaxed. Second, the arrow touched a limb in front of the stag. So the arrow, it's a very critical projectile. So as soon as you hit a limb, it unbalances the flight of the arrow, and you quickly lose the energy and the penetration, because the arrow, instead of going like completely... So the arrow, instead of going completely straight, as soon as it touches the limb, it changes the trajectory of the arrow. And I think the arrow didn't penetrate as much because of how the flight of the arrow was going. And also maybe the mechanical broadhead open on the limb. I'm not sure, but the thing is that it changed the trajectory. It changed a little bit the impact point. And finally, the bone structure. I boiled this stag leg from a stag that my wife shot a few days ago, so it's still a little bit dirty, but I wanted to show a little bit the leg structure of a stag to explain what I'm talking about. So this is the whole leg of a stag. I'm gonna remove the bottom part because it's no need. That's outside of the vital area, so we will have more or less here the lungs and the heart here, and the spine will go somewhere around here. And the thing is that a lot of times you see online and people talk about this to be the nightmare of bow hunting because it reduces a lot the penetration, and there is a bunch of broadhead tests that they shoot to scapulas to see the penetration. But to be honest, like if you see the scapula here on the wider part where typically people shoot them through, it's super thin. It's like 2 millimeter thin. So it's something that with my setup, maybe with a different type of setup, it will be a different thing. But it's something with my setup, it will go through easily. Also, the scapula is not 100% positioned in front of the vitals because it's typically a bit higher. So it depends a lot on the angle you shoot the animal. But sometimes if you hit the scapula, you are already a bit too high. But one thing, when you shoot an animal facing a little bit towards you, that it's way stronger, the strongest part of the leg will be two things. So where the scapula have the stiffener, which is super wide and super tough because you are hitting that bone on the worst angle, but also especially the shoulder bone. So the shoulder bone here is just like concrete. So it's mega tough. It's just solid bone here. And if you hit here, I don't think you are going to go through either with a mechanical fix or 80 pounds. I would love to shoot one maybe on video one of these days, but it's just super tough. And I think this is the area where I hit the stag. And it's inconvenient, but the good news is that the stag is alive. The guys from Acornland have seen it a couple of times while hunting with other people. They haven't been able to get it on video because they don't have the proper setup. They have placed some trail cams and got one terrible photo of just the crown that I think it could be him, but the quality is very, very poor. But hopefully they will get it on film to show you guys and to prove that those shots, if the arrow doesn't get on the vital area here inside the lungs, the animals typically survive, and that's always good news, because the worst nightmare that it can happen is that you wound an animal and it dies for no reason. And it also shows how hard it's, because they have set trail cams since then and they haven't been able to get it on camera, because the animals after the rut, they completely change areas, so they may move a couple of kilometers to a different area after the rut. So it's hard to relocate a stag, even if you knew that during the rut was in a certain area, they completely changed territories. So I don't know, hopefully they will see it. And one of the questions that some of you ask is that if choosing a mechanical was the right choice or not, or why you choose for a big animal a mechanical. And the reason behind it is that I think that arrow flight is key, and that from all the different parts of the body of an animal, I'm more scared than hitting on this bone, which is a small part of the animal. And when you hit it, it's probably the animal is going to survive. I'm more worried about hitting the animal on larger areas like the stomach, the liver, and those areas that are way larger and we have higher chances of hitting it. And I want to make sure that I make the biggest cutting damage possible to be sure that even if with those tough shots, the animal is going to die. So that's why I choose mechanicals. It's true that in the moment of the hunt, we did a behind the scenes trying the fixed blade, and the fixed blade was not flying properly. And it was not flying properly because the broadhead was not good enough, or because there was a problem with the broadhead. There was a problem with my arrow rest position, and it's something that I was able to change later. But since the bow was brand new, I didn't have time to tune it as good as I would like to. On the other hand, Big was a bit frustrated after those 5 days. She wasn't able to harvest a stag. She had several opportunities, but we have to understand the challenges of her setup. She's shooting a very short draw length, so that makes the arrows way slower. And she's also shooting, like she was shooting back then, I think like 45 pounds, which makes also the bow slower and with less penetration. So that limits a lot the effective shooting distance, and also how hard it is to take the shot. I mean, the animals jump the string quicker. You have to judge the distance better because the arrow drops harder, so you always have to measure, which makes you slower. You have to make sure that the animal is in the right position to get good enough penetration. So tough thing, bow hunting is like that, and I think she learned that bow hunting takes years. I keep always telling her that it took me 3 years to get my first row back with the bow, but I understand that it's a bit frustrating, but it's also a process that you have to take the right amount of time and enjoy, because if you are focused on the success, bow hunting is not your thing. And just to, as a conclusion of the first chapter, I think it's just a good representation of how hard bow hunting it is, that killing an animal is not the important thing, that you can enjoy a bunch of other things too. I mean, we had several really good opportunities that we could have taken a a younger stag easily, and we decided to pass because part of this series is also to show that we don't need to kill an animal to be successful. And I think that's a great representation of chapter 1. And now I would like to answer some of the questions that Big has been compiling about the first chapter and that you have been asking through Instagram. And also thank you all for all the support on YouTube and all the comments that you have placed on the YouTube channel. So, Victoria.
So, Javier Apo says, biggest lesson learned.
So, biggest lesson learned, I think that even if the opportunity looks easy, like the stag that I had, that it was a great opportunity, 25 meters, it's just like an easy shot. You don't have to never underestimate an opportunity, and you have to focus and take each shot as if it was a 100-meter shot. So that's probably my biggest lesson. I don't know, what was your biggest lesson?
My biggest lesson is that I was too worried about killing an animal and not like enjoying the moment, because the pressure of having Ivan and Luis filming, that's, I think, yeah, I didn't enjoy that much the time. I enjoyed when we went hunting together.
Yeah, I think that the whole pressure of the project is something that maybe doesn't feel important, but when you are and you have a bunch of camera crew on the field and you need results, sometimes it's that pressure counts, and I understand why that was something for Big that she learned that she should have focused more on enjoying the process.
Cabestani, sorry. How do you decide the camo for each place? How important it is?
So I think camos are important, but it's to a certain point. You don't have to be obsessed. I think, like, for example, KUIU has 3 different camos and all of them break your silhouette. It's true that some may fit a little bit better to the scenario, but as long as they break the silhouette and you move properly, I think it's not that big of a deal. So during the series, you will see me with all the different types of camo, and we were successful with all of them.
Javier, again, what gear do you use in Acornland, or did you use?
Yeah, so quickly, in terms of gear that we use in Acornland, I think it was the Kutana pants, Merino 145 and Peloton 240, because it was kind of warm, and in some cases the KUIU jacket. So that was basically our layering system for that trip.
Juanco Garcia, when do you use the hind call?
When to use the hind call. So at the end, the calling, it's just different resources that you have to play with depending on the scenario. And sometimes you see a stag with a lot of hinds. If you do the hind call, he may not come because he already have hinds, but you see a lonely stag that is looking for hinds, that's a great opportunity to do the hind call. Maybe better sometimes than just challenging those stags because they are not looking to fight. So I think it's another resource, and you have to play smart and try to use it and see when it works better. But I will use it when stags are looking for hinds. So.
Tom Hart, what poundage is Big shooting?
So Big is shooting right now 45 pounds, which is, she was able to raise that poundage to 50. But it's challenging to hunt with a long poundage bow with a short draw length.
Also, so many people are asking about your poundage.
My poundage is 72 pounds, but it's the PSE Expedite, which is probably one of the fastest bow on the market right now. So the arrows are going over 300 feet per second. So imagine how hard the thing that I hit on the stag was to get such a weak penetration, because I have never got a single problem with my setup to get pass-throughs or good penetration, at least to the opposite shoulder.
Alexis R89, what FOC or FOC do you recommend for stag hunting?
Yeah, the FOC, it's the front of center, so it will be the weight in front of how the arrow is balanced, and the heavier the arrow is on the front, the penetration is better. I think in hunting, it's something between 10 and 15%. You can look online, but I don't think it's a super critical aspect, and it will depend a lot on your setup. If penetration will be super important because your setup is very low poundage and very slow or whatever, it's something that maybe it will be important. But I think it's more critical to have accuracy and to hit the stag where it needs to. So precision, it's more important than FOC, in my opinion.
Javier Guarino, total arrow weight.
Yeah, so my total arrow weight for everything is 385, which is really light, but it's the setup that I hunt all over the world. So
Douglas Greaves, how does mouflon taste?
So mouflon tastes good. It's a sheep. And the thing is that we were not able to test that particular mouflon because all the meat that it's hunted on Acornland, most of the meat except the one that it's eaten by the people around, it's typically sold and professionally harvested.
Joshua Rickman, what boots are you wearing?
So the boots that I'm wearing on that trip, they are from Vivo Barefoot. So it's a company that has like the soles and everything is like to be connected with like going like almost barefoot. They are super flexible and super light, and it's right now the best shoes I have found to stalk an animal.
Miguel LLT, what is the best place to initiate on bow hunting stags? What terrain?
Where to start bow hunting? I think you want an area. I don't think it really matters if it's mountain terrain or forest terrain or whatever, but with high density. You need to see a lot of stag to interact with a lot of them, see how have opportunities to really understand the animal. That is the hardest part of all.
Okay, so we'll move to Instagram questions.
So now some of the questions that you guys have been asking in Instagram. Thanks for being there.
Ricardo PC 300. Why only bow hunting in Madrid in Acornland?
It's a family-owned business, and they are all passionate bow hunters, and at some point they decided they used to do a lot of driven hunts on that property, and they decided to specialize on bow hunting, which was their passion, and guide bow hunters. And since then they decided not to shoot rifle shots inside there, which is pretty awesome.
Álvaro Meden asks about the broadheads we use.
Yeah, I was using the Green Reaper Razor tip, 100 grain.
And mine?
And yours was the
Pro Series, no?
Hades, I think, like the fixed blade.
Green Reaper.
Yeah, awesome. Also a Green Reaper 3 blade.
So, C9 Country Life, special shoes, you talked about it. TMHRT, do you need a special license to hunt at Acornland for non-residents?
Yeah, so he's not from Spain, the guy, no?
No.
Yeah, so in Spain, everything is kind of privately owned, so you will need a license, like a general license to be able to hunt. And you will buy tags from them, and they own the right to hunt those animals in that property. So nothing very, very special. So it's pretty easy actually to hunt in Spain. So I highly recommend you to go check them out.
Luis Acosta, why shoot so light arrows for those big animals? Would it be better to shoot heavier ones?
I like light. I mean, I'm shooting light arrows because my main focus is to hit the animal where I have to, and stags, you typically have a lot of opportunities that you don't have time to either measure the distance or you have to take quick decisions. So I rather hit the animal where it needs to be, because with my setup, the penetration is not an issue unless you hit the worst spot on stag. So
and if Jantha says, ideal weight to pass scapula?
It all depends on the speed and weight, so it's a proper balance. It's true that probably for stags, I will, rather than 380 grains, I will go something for between 420, 450. But anything above that, it's going to slow a lot the arrow, and you're going to have a lot of highs and lows mistakes. So,
Ruben says, can you talk about the optics used?
Yeah, I was using the NL Pure and the NL Pure and also the EL range, so from Swarovski. That's typically the binoculars that I'm using, 10 by 42 and 8 by 42. So we have been playing with a bunch of their equipment lately.
If Jantha also says, which are the distances we feel comfortable shooting at?
What distances do you feel comfortable? Up to 40?
Up to 40.
Yeah, so Biggs typically shoots up to 40 meters. I feel confident to shoot up to 70, and we train even farther than that. So,
J. Jaure Gil, which is your draw length, Pedro?
My draw length is 28 and a half.
And Chema also asks if it would have make a difference if you have chosen the different broadhead. Yeah.
I'm not sure. I don't think the change of broadhead will have been a different. Maybe of the deflection on the limb, because fixed blades do deflect less on limbs, but I'm not sure what really happened, so it's hard to tell. But I think penetration-wise will have been very, very similar.
And the rest of the questions are very
very similar, no?
No, very live. When did you start shooting your bow?
Yeah, so thanks for the questions. Let's do the giveaway then.
Yeah.
So giveaway time. So for this first chapter, we are giving away a KUIU Guide Jacket. This is in olive. There you will be able to choose the color and also the size, so it's not going to be one of mine. And how the giveaways are working. So for each chapter, the companies that have supported the project are going to be giving some things away. And on this first chapter, it was going to be KUIU. The requirements to join the giveaway was to comment on any of the videos that we released from the chapter 1, which was the 5 episodes of the chapter, plus the behind the scenes of those that we released, that it was 2, the broadhead and the bow setup. And between all those videos, in each of these, let's explain better. So in each video, we have picked 2 winners out of the comments that were on YouTube. And those 2 winners from those 7 videos are here, that I'm going to quickly read those 2 winners. And now we're going to pick a random winner from these 14 people, which is Juan Alcaraz, Nes 1676, Carlos Gaztelu, Javier CM, Gonzalo de Gregorio, Ricardo Lescano, Hole Hunters, Alberto Lorenzo, Javier Cabestani, José Luis García, Ryan Renward, Guillermo Benítez, Alberto Fuentes, Dani Ibáñez, Douglas Greaves, and Javier Irriondo. So these are the 14 finalist guys to enter the giveaway. And now we're going to, between those 14 guys, we're going to pick a winner. Be sure to keep commenting.
I was supposed to take one.
You are? Okay.
No, you took that.
Okay. Big is going to take, just in case you guys don't trust me. Take one. And the winner is Nes 1676. So I don't know if you guys can see. We'll try to find this guy, but in case for whatever reason we cannot connect with this guy, or he is not following one of the requirements, which was to be subscribed to my channel or to follow KUIU Europe on Instagram. In case this doesn't work, Big is going to pick a second one.
Sorry.
It says one jumped out of the way. So
my Stag jump out of it.
The second winner, just in case the first one doesn't work, is Dani Ibáñez. Dani Ibanez. So congratulations. Thanks everyone for commenting on all those videos and for supporting the whole project. We are right now going to be releasing the second chapter. In the second chapter, we are going with my dad on a mountain hunt. It's going to happen in Gredos. We're going to be hunting 2 days for stags there and sleeping on a hut. With my dad, it's going to be a super awesome experience. We are releasing the first episode in around 20 minutes. So be sure to subscribe to the channel, like and watch it. And between all the comments from chapter 2, we're going to be giving away some ammunition. So Hornady, that's the ammunition that we have been shooting this project. And Hornady is going to give away 5 vouchers. It's vouchers, so how do you pronounce that? Yeah, 5 gift cards of 100 euros each gift card on ammunition. The only requirement is that on your country there needs to be a Hornady dealer. And if there is not a Hornady dealer, we will exchange those 100 euros in ammunition for 100 euros in license-free gear that they also carry and produce. So pretty awesome giveaway from Hornady. And in order to have a chance to win, you have to comment any of the videos from chapter 2. Also, the behind the scenes videos, you will also enter on the giveaway. So be sure also to comment on those. Subscribe to the channel, follow us on social media, and also follow Hornady on social media. And I think that's all. Just wanted to thank everyone for the support, for all the comments, for all the love that we have been getting from the series. Glad you guys are enjoying. Glad that we are able to transmit what Stag Culture is for us. And glad to see that it also means the same for all of you. So huge thanks for everything. Thanks for joining us on Instagram. Be sure to check the live video also on YouTube in the next following days. And thanks for everything. We'll see you. Hope you guys enjoy chapter 2, and we will connect next week for another live video to comment the chapter 2 issues. Can't wait for you guys to see it. Thank you.